What's going on, everybody? It's me, Eman, and today we're going to review All Eyez On Me. All right, let's do a quick intro. All Eyez On Me is the story of the iconic rapper, poet, actor, and activist Tupac Shakur. Okay, let's get on to the good.
The good.
Well, let's start off with the obvious first. Demetrius Shipp Jr. is a great look-alike for Tupac. He definitely shines in various moments throughout the film. I thought he was able to capture a lot of Tupac's charm and wit and exuberance. His best moments in the film are probably when he expresses Tupac's deepest thoughts and just displaying his overall growth over time. Now, a number of other actors deserve some recognition here too. Danai Gurira, I hope I said that right, does an amazing job at playing Tupac's mother in the movie. While she didn't really overtake the film or anything, she definitely left an impact anytime she was on the screen. Without question, you can definitely see the level of influence that Tupac's mother had on her son. I thought her and Shipp had really good on-screen chemistry together, and it really sold that whole mother-son relationship. Now, other supporting characters contributed very positively too. I thought Kat Graham did a pretty good job of portraying Jada Pinkett, and those haircuts really helped too. Dominic Santana also delivered a great performance in his portrayal of the very intimidating Suge Knight. Now, it goes without saying that the musical component to this movie is definitely something that you can look forward to. There's an assortment of a lot of Tupac's most famous songs that are played throughout the movie that'll be sure to entertain audiences. As for the story itself, there was a very obvious intent to elevate the young rapper into a very positive light. Well, that's about it. Let's get on to the bad.
The bad.
Remember Demetrius Shipp Jr., the guy who had all those nice moments to shine? Well, unfortunately, in other moments, he really wasn't shining all that bright. I can't fault him too much, only because this is literally his first time acting ever. However, I do need to place some blame basically on the director, Benny Boom. No disrespect to Benny Boom, but he just was not a good fit for this movie. With a very inexperienced actor like Shipp, you have to have a more experienced director that can kind of make up for the weaknesses of the Tupac actor. There were just one too many scenes in the movie where it just felt like the director should have been like, cut, stop, not gonna work, run that again. Another issue with this movie was the decision with Snoop Dogg. Rather than casting a look-alike for the part, or just a better actor just to fill in that role, they opted to go and do a voice dub instead, where you literally hear Snoop Dogg talking and the actor in the movie is just lip-syncing the entire time. That immediately cheapened the quality of this film. I don't know if they intentionally did that to be funny or not, but at that rate, they might as well have just cast Snoop Dogg and just let him play himself. It just came off as so corny and cheesy. Now, another issue was whether you knew Tupac through his music or through the media. One thing that I think everybody can agree on is that Tupac always kept it real. The movie, in my opinion, was way too safe for this controversial figure. It just never came off as that raw Tupac that people either loved or hated. As a result, it was really difficult to capture the full complexity that made the prolific rapper captivating to both his fans and his opponents. I guess in a sense you could say that this movie tried to elevate him so much that if you never knew who Tupac was and you saw this movie, you would see him more as a sympathetic figure rather than the controversial one that he was. Now, the movie does go into a couple of the issues, the beefs, the court cases that the rapper did have to go through. I personally don't think it really dug deep enough. It left things very ambiguous and kind of one-sided. I mean, we don't even see a depiction of Puffy in this movie at all. We never get to see that Tupac that was spitting at the media. I mean, this movie was just way too safe, apparently trying not to step on anybody's toes. Now, one of the biggest things that I was hoping that this movie would tackle appropriately was Tupac's death. Spoiler alert. I wanted to see if they were gonna show me Tupac's death and have it captivate me the same way that I was captivated when I saw Eazy-E's death in Straight Outta Compton. Now, I didn't grow up with NWA, for example, but watching Straight Outta Compton, when I learned about what happened to Eazy and how they showed it on screen, it really sunk in. So I was really hoping that I'd get the same effect with Tupac's death because his death was very significant at the time. In my opinion, I think the film missed the mark. Maybe it was the Marvin Sapp gospel music selection that they started playing. Why they didn't play Tupac Changes or something else, I don't know. Tupac's death scene just didn't hit as deep as I would have hoped. And I think they just could have done it in a better way to make it come off more meaningful. All right, let's get to the reason.
The reason.
All Eyez On Me is like a hot steaming plate of chitlins. From the beginning, it may have smelled really bad when you hear about the rookie actor and director, but despite how nasty it may look or smell, some people will still eat it up and drink a cold beer afterwards. Okay, I know what you're gonna ask. Was this better than Notorious? Was it as good as Straight Outta Compton? Should this have been a Lifetime movie instead? Hey, I'll be honest, Notorious was forgettable to me. The only thing I really remember about Notorious was the fact that Jamal Woolard did a pretty good job at playing Biggie. Now I know this movie hasn't been well received by critics, that is, however many are actually going out to see this movie in the first place, but in my opinion, I'm not gonna call this movie trash, because personally I think your movie has to be really, really, really bad in order to be considered as trash. That means there's very, very little redeeming about the movie to be considered that level. And I do kind of think that this is slightly above a Lifetime or BET level type of movie. However, let's be real for a moment here. A Tupac movie should be equal or better than Straight Outta Compton, and All Eyez On Me does not come close to that. The biggest threat to this movie is the high expectations that come along with anything that has to do with Tupac Shakur. In other words, if you're gonna make a Tupac movie, you better make one that's gonna live up to be as great as Tupac was. Unfortunately, with those expectations, with this type of director, and this inexperienced lead actor, this movie was set up to fail in terms of meeting those high expectations. It just never really had much of a chance. Usually this is the part where I tell you whether or not this movie is worth seeing in theaters or not. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it's really difficult for me to say yes, you should go see it, or no, you shouldn't. On one hand, if you've been a Tupac fan, you've been waiting for a movie like this, any Tupac movie, for decades. On the other hand, you've got the issue of supporting a movie that portrays and has been created by people within a social group that's in accordance with the actual film. Because without your support, the film industry just starts to believe there's just no reason to make these types of movies for you in the future. So when it comes to the rating for All Eyez On Me, I've got to give it a 6.5 out of 10. Now, what I will say in terms of a recommendation, I'm just gonna say that this movie is watchable. Take that however you want. I'm not gonna tell you to go pay full price. I'm not gonna tell you to go see it as a matinee. I'm not gonna tell you to go see it for free. It's watchable in the sense that while it does have some highs, it's got a lot of lows too. Personally, I don't think that it lives up to the hype that it should have, but the reality is some people are gonna ignore the flaws of this movie and still be entertained. Now, I have to admit that I wasn't a Tupac fan growing up. I was a casual fan. I will say that if you are unfamiliar with him, one thing that this movie does do is inspire you to go look him up and learn more about him. Go and listen to some of his interviews, check out some of his music, check out the lyrics to some of his music. While All Eyez On Me did not live up to his elite status, the movie certainly doesn't take anything away from his legacy as well. Well, that's all I've got. Thank you very much for joining me. I always appreciate you guys. Okay, let's do it. Let's talk about this Tupac movie. I know some of you guys have already seen it. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments. Let's talk about it. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this video. If you ever want to support me, share my videos, because at the end of the day, all that really does, it helps me get a little bit more exposure, so that way I can get more access to give back to you guys. And for those of you that know me, I like to give back whenever I can. If you want to connect with me, you can always follow me on any one of my social media platforms. I've got more videos and reviews to do, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.